Joining me now is Bob Cusack, the editor-in-chief of The Hill. Bob, thank you for being with us. You know, Whittaker now has a lot of oversight over Mueller, but in the past, he wrote an op-ed arguing the Mueller investigation was going too far, and he even tweeted a story calling it Mueller's lynch mob. So what actions can Whittaker potentially take to hinder the Mueller probe, and what do you make of the timing of this?
Well, I was expected that Sessions was going to be fired, pushed out, ousted, whatever you call it. I didn't expect it to be one day after the midterms, but you knew it was going to happen soon. So as far as the Mueller probe, this is a significant development because Rod Rosenstein is now not calling the shots as far as overseeing the investigation. So Whittaker, as you mentioned, he's talked on television. He's written a number of op-eds, including for one for us at The Hill, critical of the probe. So he can control the probe. And I think what you mentioned, that this confidential report has to be given to Whittaker, to the Department of Justice by Mueller. But it's his decision of whether that's a confidential report or whether that report goes public. So this is a big deal, and that's why a lot of Democratic leaders, including Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, have called on Whittaker to recuse himself. But he's not going to do that.
So, you know, Whittaker has also been described as a Trump loyalist, but wasn't Sessions originally described that way as well? Isn't that kind of what got him in trouble with the president to begin with?
Yeah, that's right, Tanya. Sessions was the first Republican senator to back Trump. So he was viewed as a loyalist, but then he recused himself from the Russia probe, and that set off a number of headlines and news events, and Trump never forgave him for that because as he said, he wanted someone to watch his back. He cited Eric Holder as an attorney general who obviously didn't agree with Eric Holder, but that he said protected President Obama. Now, Holder has pushed back on that notion, but at the same time, he wants a loyalist, someone who is going to protect him, and whether that's as acting or as a permanent one, because remember, he's going to have to nominate a permanent AG probably in the next several weeks.
So, Bob, Democrats are already calling for Whittaker to recuse himself from the Russia investigation. We are hearing reports that he will not. Some Republicans say that Mueller must be able to finish the investigation, though. So I want to play what Senator Joe Manchin had to say today.
Are we approaching a constitutional crisis?
I think we're on the verge of that. What raises my concerns is a person who's been so vocal against the investigation that was going on, now putting in charge a day after the election. I think that sheds bad light on it. I think that gives concern to every senator, Democrat and Republican. We are a country. The rule of law is everything. It's how we gauge ourselves. It's how we govern ourselves. Looking like it's all been tilted one way or the other is wrong.
So, Bob, what can and what are members of Congress willing to do to protect the probe? I mean, as you know, now the GOP controls the Senate with a little bit more of a majority than it had before. How is that going to affect all of this?
Well, I think that'll affect it in that Trump has more leeway. He can lose more Republican votes and still get his next attorney general, and that would be in the new Congress. Now, as far as the Mueller probe, Democrats could craft legislation that would protect and shield Mueller, that would give him the independence that I'm sure he wants to exert and has been exerting. But the problem is that it will be a Republican Senate. You've obviously have President Trump in the White House, so passing that legislation is going to be very tricky. Another option is that, remember, the House is flipping. So in January, Democrats will control the House. The House Intelligence Committee could reopen its investigation of the probe, especially if they think that the Mueller probe has been compromised. However, that committee is so partisan, it doesn't have any report coming from the Republican side or the Democratic side doesn't have the weight of a report like from Robert Mueller, who is a Republican but is widely respected.
Now, Whittaker can only serve, I think, up to 200 days before he needs to be appointed, and unclear who is going to be the next Attorney General. Several names have been floated as a possible permanent replacement, including former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and former Attorney General William Barr. Here's what Kellyanne Conway had to say about all of this.
There are many people in contention for that position just because there are many qualified people who would like to do it. And he knows that. And I'm not going to get ahead of the president in his announcement on anything related to the cabinet or the senior staff.
So what can you tell us about some of these candidates? Who is likely to be a front runner in your mind?
Well, a couple people that I don't think are going to be front runners are Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina. There's a lot of speculation that he's interested in the Attorney General job. I don't think so. He really likes serving in the Senate, so I don't think he's going to be the pick. I don't think Chris Christie is going to be the pick either. I think anyone Trump basically, unless it's a real controversial figure, I think anyone Trump nominates would be a bruising confirmation process, but at the same time would get enough Republican support to be confirmed. I think certainly Bondi is one, and Barr. I think you've got to watch them. Also remember on Chris Christie prosecuted Jared Kushner's father, so there's tension there. There was also tension in how Christie helmed the transition, and then he was pushed out. So there's just kind of some bad blood still between Christie and Trump. Maybe they've made up, but I do think there are going to be a lot of names. But Bondi is one I think to watch. She's been on Fox News, and obviously Trump likes to watch Fox News. Former Attorney General in Florida, so that is one. I think she's one to watch.
All right, Bob Cusack, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.